Blessed be everyone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Black Magic Talk, episode 29. Today is all about our familiars. And I had to do a little bit of research here because Google was pooping. I'm so sorry. Popping. It was popping up with nonsense. Sorry about that. I will take that out because I don't think YouTube's going to let me promote that. Slip of the tongue. It happens. So they were basically, I mean, and you're going to find when you do research for some things, you're going to find that outlets such as Google or, any kind of search engine, when you do kind of research for something that is, I wouldn't say we're controversial, but I would definitely say that we are a part of that. We're not in the club group, we're not a part of that, Christian, Jewish, or Islam. We're not a part of that group. So just be careful because there is propaganda out there about witches and Wicca, and it can get a little frustrating at times because I had to literally search for this one article that I wanted to do. So what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about animals and our familiars. So witches have familiars, and we basically our familiars are the pets that we have. Technically my familiar is unique because you can't own one in the state of Pennsylvania. So let me just see something here. How's that? Okay. All right. So I may put that background back, but I mean, I'm behind. The audio is messed up. Okay, so we're talking about our familiars, and so what is a familiar? Okay, this article. Sorry, I'm actually going to share my screen so everybody can see it. Just give me a second. Aha. Here, the definition of a familiar. Excuse me, I can't talk tonight. Is basically, yes, it is a companion, can be a household, pets, if you are able to have certain animals as pets. Now, again, this can be anything from an owl to a toad to a cat to a rat. I'm going on Harry Potter, but I actually did look it up. So there's many, many animals. Snakes is another one. You can definitely have a snake as a familiar. I know the one show I watched called Salem, their familiars were toads. So even though there was no real witches in Salem, those were basically, God-fearing people who, and isn't it funny that, I mean, if we bring up Salem real quick, isn't it funny that literally if you confess to being a witch, you are not harmed. But if you did not confess to being a witch, you were deleted. That's putting it nicely. They did horrible things to people, and I think it was just like a lot of people say it was like a land grab or whatever. Um, so basically, Matt, what are your feelings on the definition of a familiar?
Well, in Norse culture, there's something very, very similar called fylgja or fetch, which means to
Mhm.
follow. So very
Okay.
similar to a follower. And yeah, it could be. I was actually just researching today on Loki, who's a mischievous god in Norse culture.
Yes, of course, we could go for a frame of reference, though this is just Hollywood's basic interpretation of him. He was very mischievous in the movie Thor. So in the Thor movies, he was very mischievous. Um, I'm sorry, go ahead. You were
Oh
saying.
no, no, no. Well, in the sagas, he turned into a fly several times to
Mhm.
irritate some dwarfs that were making treasure for the gods, which
Okay.
ultimately ends up being a good thing. But
Hmm.
so basically, he gets things stolen from the gods and then does something super annoying, but then they end up with something better in the end. So he does play more of a role than just pure like mayhem, but he is definitely mischievous.
And that could also, like, if you're working with Loki, and he is the god you call to, I had someone who was pagan who stopped by my work say, you have to be really careful with Loki when you're working with him, if you do have to work with him, because and he was telling me that, so and so takes orders from, they take order, of course they take orders from Odin, because Odin would be their father. So Thor would take, orders from, Odin, but I mean, they literally would have rules themselves, so they wouldn't take all the orders from Odin, but you had to be very careful with Loki because he was very mischievous, like some people we know. I mean, my son, he's so mischievous, and he means well. It's just, he has that great sense of humor. I mean, we all have a sense of humor. So, well, unless you're a stick in the mud like my mom. She doesn't get comedy very well, and yet I'm sitting here laughing my behind off, and she's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "Mom, you need to grow a sense of humor real fast." So anyway, so yeah, that's just a basic understanding of that they can assist in magic. um that's really the only article I had, so I'm sorry. But I mean, let's start with you, Matt. Tell me, what is your familiar, how did you come about, to know that they were your familiar? Like, did you do a meditation, or did you just feel it? And how do they help you? So that's like a three-part question, so go ahead, take it away, Matt.
Yep. Well, first off, some people, so according to Dr. Flower's work, can have more than one familiar or fylgja. Some people have none. So in Norse culture, it's kind of attached to the mind body soul complex, but it is its own separate entity. So it's a paradox, if you will. And so, whenever I was doing workings outside, I always would have my neighbor's cat come around. Um, and, those are, of course, known since ancient Egypt. But for me, I've always loved bats since I was a kid, and you can't own those here either. But
Me too. I love the fruit bats. Oh, they're so
yeah,
cute.
I just saw some
Especially when they're
today.
munching on like a fruit, like a banana. They have and they have a YouTube channel. I'll probably link it in the description field, but they have a bat sanctuary where they literally, cuz in I know in, it's either New Zealand or Australia. I think it's Australia. Sometimes the fruit bats will get electrocuted on the power lines, and they can delete, and then like the little babies are still attached to them, so they take the babies and they kind of, give them milk and kind of raise them and then send them back into the wild. Yeah, some
Milk
of
and
these
cookies.
I'm sorry.
Milk and cookies.
Yeah. No. No. um but I mean, they are just so adorable. Some of them are different colors, some of them are just plain black. But when you see them on, I see them on X all the time, and of course I should subscribe again. I don't know why I unsubscribed, but they did have a couple of fruit bats that they were getting ready to return to the wild. Um, because they had grown, when they grow so big they can't keep them anymore, but the little babies are like, like they're about this small, so they're not very big. um and I remember the one didn't make it because they were found too late. They tried to nurse it back to health, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh no,
A
not at all.
familiar is your bat.
Yeah, well, not that long ago, I don't know if it's still going on. I hope not. But they kept finding bats with white rings around their nose, and it wasn't from partying, but they were being deleted for some unknown reason, some weird disease, and yeah, hopefully they get that sorted out because they're a really, really important part of the ecosystem. And I know people are usually afraid of bats, think they, bite you and whatnot. I can't say the
Those are
rest of
only
it.
the vampire bats.
Exactly. And
But they
that's
have
a
to have a
very,
reason.
very,
They have to think you are some kind of prey that they need to bother with. If you don't bother with them, usually bats won't bother with you. Um,
and I don't think I've ever heard of someone actually being bitten, although I'm sure it is possible, but it's got to be a very small percentage, I'm sure.
would you
Because
know why
most of
they
them are
call them vampire
fruit.
bats?
I can imagine, but I'm not positive now.
It's because they have those teeth that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I
Um,
think probably the reason that I became so interested in them from a young age was either from Batman or from my grandparents having bats.
really, Batman, the '89 one
Yeah,
with
I was 7 when I saw it in the theater, so Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton and
Uh,
Jack Nicholson was the Joker.
yep,
He's the only Joker for me, and I'm sorry, but Michael Keaton will be the only Batman. Even though I know there
understand.
was Adam West, but
Yeah,
I wasn't old enough for the '60s. I was
actually, there
only
was
born
a
in the '80s.
there was a Batman movie in like the 40s or 50s too. Before that,
Oh, I'm
even.
sure. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure. So he wasn't really the first.
yeah,
It's kind of like my mom was talking about like how um not my mom, but my dad was talking about how Sean Connery was not the first 007. There were several others before him, but as my mom would put it, he was the best. I never got into 007, so I don't know. I
it's got
only
a
know
good theme
Sean.
song.
It does have a good theme song. I like the theme song to "Live or Let Die" because, of course, that was from Paul McCartney and Wings, and of course, I'm a big Beatles fan. I love the Beatles. I love Paul McCartney and Wings. I love Band on the Run. I love "Live or Let Die." There's several others. I'm just not thinking of Jets. I like Jets. That was a big one for me. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
Did you know Robin Williams was actually supposed to be the first Joker, but Jack
No, I did not
Nicholson
know that.
Jack Nicholson turned the role down initially, and then he found out it was going to be huge, so he took the role.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, I would love to see Robin Williams
I
as the
know.
Joker.
Me
He was.
too.
Did you ever see Hook? In fact, they were just playing Hook this weekend
Oh, I love that
on
movie.
TV, on regular TV.
I
They were
wonder if it
playing
was
Hook.
because of Maggie Smith was in that. Because
Yes,
he's
yes, she
passed
played
on.
Wendy. Yeah, we just lost Maggie Smith. Please, say a little, whatever you do, say a prayer or send her family some positive energy. She not only played in Hook, she played in the Harry Potter series.
Yeah,
She was in a lot of stuff, and I saw her when she was younger. She was a very pretty lady.
yeah,
Um, I know she has I forgot what she had, but during Harry Potter, they would have to stop because she had um I can't say the C word, but she had the C word, and I know she was battling that for a while. So, because the only reason I say that is because today we found out a stream that lady has the C word and they took the stream down. I don't know why. They
wow.
just on YouTube they said that it doesn't go with their community guidelines. So, the C word.
It's
If you are,
funny.
go ahead.
They had an archaeology, I'm going to say retreat for lack of a better word, and because of using AI, they couldn't say the word bone because it got flagged as a bad word. So you had an
As in,
archaeology,
as in your bones.
yeah, an
Huh.
archaeology retreat where you couldn't say the word bone. So
Okay. Uh,
yikes.
I don't think that's a bad word because I mean we would say it in like, oh, I have, some bones to put out for Halloween or something. Like a Halloween decoration or something. So we'll see. We'll see what I mean, I can't say the other thing I said, my animatronics name, I can't say his name because apparently that's promoting something that we were not promoting. We were not even talking about it. So, and like if I do slip up and say a word, I will have to take it out. So I'm trying not to say any words so I don't have to do any editing whatsoever. So anyway, yes, they were showing Hook. and I love Robin Williams. That's such a shame that he couldn't get to play the Joker, but I did get to hear him. Um, he did what he did Come Together. I heard Robin Williams sing Come Together from the Beatles. There was a back, I don't know if it's still there today. You'd have to look on Winamp. But Winamp had their own like radio stations, and they had one all dedicated to the Beatles. It was called Beatles Radio. And I actually heard, not only did I hear Robin Williams do Come Together, but I also heard Jim Carrey do I Am the Walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I know, right? So it was like the celebrities doing Beatles songs. That's why, like, I would listen to that for hours. Like, if I was at work or something, I would just, tune into Winamp and listen to the Beatles radio. And, or if I was at home or something, I would tune that in, and away I would go. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going with your story.
Oh no. I mean, I'm not sure even what else I would share, except I wonder the difference between maybe like an omen or sign and uh,
Hmm.
you're familiar. Because I think maybe sometimes nature can just be trying to tell you something, and it not
Right.
necessarily be your familiar.
Well, and because animals are very psychic. So they have that. And again, that definition said, they can mentally be on the same path as you. The article will go on to say, they have psychic abilities, animals do. A lot of people think that familiars are just limited to, cats, dogs, not dogs, but cats. Um, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be playing with my phone, but I was trying to finish something up. Um, excuse me. So familiars can be cats. I mean, they can be snakes, and as we said, owls. Pretty much any animal that you feel a big connection with, and that you would want to do magic with. So it's not I mean, it can be a dog. If the dog is your companion, someone who gives you comfort, but also you orchestrate into your magic. I don't see why a dog couldn't be a familiar. Mine actually, it's kind of crazy how and I can't have mine. Like I said, I can't have my familiar in the state of Pennsylvania. They are outlawed, but I've seen certain like retreats, or not retreats, but like sanctuaries that they've had. Um, so not sanctuaries. How do I say this? I've seen certain.
Rescues?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the word rescue. So they do have some in other countries, of course, or in other countries, in other states. They will have. There's a big one with a lot of red tails. So my familiar is a fox. Um, and like I said, I would love to have a fox as a pet, because they're just like, coyotes, or they're just like wolves, or they're kind of like dogs. I've seen the rescue. There's a channel where there's a fox rescue, and oh my gosh, are they adorable? They're so cute. I just want to, go like that with their little mouths, their teeth. um. So yeah, like okay, that's me. Sorry. All right, you have my full attention. So yeah, how did I come to this familiar? Um, I actually did a meditation, and they said whatever animal comes to you is your familiar. So it was kind of like how you meet your familiar, and they have all these kind of meditations. You can look it up on YouTube, or I'm sure there's some on Rumble, or there's even some on the internet that you can just go to someone's website and download how to meet your familiar. uh and like I said, if you need any links, all you'd have to do is search, meditation to meet your familiar. And there's like a lot of meditations that you can also meet your spirit guide. So it's kind of treat it like that. Um, I had the same thing. Like I just did a meditation. They said whatever animal comes to you in a meditation is your familiar. So and there's some people out there that believe, well, you can only own like a pet and that's your familiar. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Now, do I think my cats are, and I have three of them, rascally things? Yeah, so no, I love my cats to death, and they are all spoiled. They're all girls, and spoiled rotten. Of course, that's my fault. But do I think they're my familiar? They could be. I do feel a big connection, especially with Maleficent, who is my black kitty. I'm a witch, right? I should have a black kitty. Um, well, you know the story, Matt, with witches and black cats, right? It's
Of
like
course.
it's almost like what do they call a stereotype? It's almost like a stereotype. Um, but how I came to have Maleficent is quite a story. She was a little tiny kitten born outside, and a gentleman who my old job I used to work at caught her and knew I was interested in a black kitty or having a black kitty, and brought her to me at my job, and I took her home. And when I came home, she was a vicious one. We had to tame her. She was a vicious one. Uh, she got me on my hands because she's like, "No, I don't want to talk to you." Um, and she wasn't eating, like she wouldn't eat. But I had a cat tree and she would kind of get in one of the little covered holes and kind of stay there, and she wouldn't come out. So I would just take water and food over to her, and she eventually did eat. She was all kinds of sneezing and stuff. So she has allergies like I do. And they get really bad if she goes it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Well, it's that time of the season." Even cats have allergies. It's really weird. Um, but since then, she's imprinted on me, which means, she sees me as her mother. And she follows me everywhere. I'm not making this up. In the bathroom, in the living room, and she'll scratch the wall and I want in, mommy. I want in your room. No, honey, you can't come in here. Um, It's not that I don't want her in my room, it's just, she'll claw at everything. And then she'll look at me. She doesn't jump up on the bed either. She's just like, "Meow." I'm like, "Well, jump." "Come on, cat, you may fly, you never know." No, she's just a little queenie. I like to call her a queenie. Because she's a little dramatic sometimes. Like she'll stand at the door and like just meow at me, or she'll scratch the wall, which sounds like nails on a chalkboard. I mean, that's really bad. Um, but I mean, she literally, if I don't move, she won't move. If I move, then she moves. I mean, it's that tight of a relationship. Like if she moves when I move, and if she looks back and she doesn't see me moving, she stops immediately. So, I think she could be my familiar, um, because like I said, she's kind of a substitution that I can't have a fox. Um, and like I said, I spoil all my cats. All 3 of my cats are gigantic. They're just big boned. No, but they are spoiled rotten. They get snacks every night. They get food plus snacks. They won't even touch the food hardly anymore, really. I buy them dry food and they go right after the wet food, but then sometimes they don't eat that. They go after the dried snacks. And they will stand there and meow at me until I give them I give them the snacks. Because without those snacks, those cats are like lost. I'm like, I spoil you guys way too much. But I haven't really done any magic with the cats, or I do my magic either in my room or out here in my office, because I'm just kind of that person that, I mean, unless it's someone I trust, I don't really want to do magic in front of them. I guess I'm sort of still, I don't know if
Reserved.
I would say, yeah, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but yeah, I would say excuse me, reserved. Definitely reserved.
I think it's a
Um,
sacred thing, private.
yeah, I mean, my son, he has a wand and stuff. Um, it's like a wooden one that I bought at the Pennsylvania, blah, 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 the PA Ren Fair. I can't get that out, you know. Um, and like it's his, I would say it's his first wand. I told him when he gets older, he can either make his own wand or he can buy one. But I said, either or, you need to put your energy into it. So I said, you know, touch it. Um, Feel it with your hands. Yeah. Get your energy into it. That way, when you, if and when you decide to become a witch yourself or a warlock or whatever you want to be called, my man likes wizard. He's like, I'm a wizard. Um, yeah, whatever you want to call yourself, a male witch. I don't care what you call yourself. Um, so I told him when you're ready, you can have a wand. So, what his familiar will be, I don't know. He would have to do a meditation and find that out. Um, like I said, there are owls I've seen on X, just the most beautiful little owls, and they just go, you know, like when they pet their heads or whatever. But they are so cute. But again, guys, remember these are not domesticated animals. Some of the familiars are not domesticated. Some of them are literally wild, and you would have to get them wild. Another familiar that I forgot I looked up is a hare, or you know, some would say bunny, but you can say hare too. So yeah, you can have a hare as your familiar if that's what you feel drawn to, or if that's what you see in a meditation or whatever. I think we can own bunnies in PA, but we cannot own foxes, unfortunately. But the red-tailed ones, they definitely are like the cutest. Now I've seen all kinds of foxes. I've seen the white foxes, the reds, of course. They do have, I think they have all blacks or like a brownish black. Um, they are just, to me, they're all adorable. I wish I could show, but I'd have to put this, I'd have to take that out and for YouTube and not Rumble. So, but yeah, like foxes are my familiar, and then of course my cats, of course. But again, just because you let's say you do a meditation and your familiar is a toad, doesn't mean you have to own one. But just know that you can get symbolizations. So if I got like a statue of a fox, I bet you that it would help in my magic greatly because the symbolization is there. Um, Now, do I think that, well, that, of course, there's always the stereotypical that the familiars are from the devil or, you know, from their evil things that witches use to do their bidding, which is absolutely not true. So, um, I mean, my cats would be like, "Pfft, go get it yourself." You know, that kind of thing. Um, so it's very exaggerated what familiars are. Um, yeah, I would love to have a bat. But again, we're not in Australia, and not I don't know of any really real bats around here. I mean, it's Pennsylvania, so I'd probably have to go to a cave or something. Um, in Pennsylvania to look for bats or whatever. I'm pretty sure we have fruit bats. I mean, I'm not saying that bats aren't around here. I'm just saying that they're very few and far between. We have more hawks and stuff, and um, I mean the bunnies around here are like drama queens. They're like, I'll just eat your grass, you know. That kind of thing. Though they should look out for the cats because we do have some. I don't know if they're strays or if they're just outdoor cats, but I haven't really seen a lot of bunnies around. We used to have a lot more in like the past years, and I would just see them like, yeah, I'm standing here. What are you doing about? What are you going to do about it? Um,
Bugs Bunny.
Say, what's up, Doc? Yeah. So and I loved Looney Tunes, by the way. I used to watch that when I was little. And then you also have, of course, the snakes. There are people who do have snakes as pets. Again, guys, I wouldn't try to domesticate things. I can't tell you how many. I know Kid Cabello. He had a video of they were small little alligators, and yeah, they were little gators or little crocs, I think, little crocodiles, and they were hatching, and there was like a whole tub of them. I'm like, let's not domesticate those guys because, yeah, they're wild animals. But I did see on X one time, the guy goes up, and he was to an alligator. I'm like, that's not a dog. Alligator's like, all right, and he walks up on the guy. I'm like, oh boy. See,
Well,
the
in
thing
Russia,
is,
you'll see people that have bears for pets, which
yeah, yeah,
I
they had
also
the
don't recommend.
bears. No, I don't recommend the bears because the bears can eat you. um, I just, oh wow, that's so funny. Oh, I was up in Minnesota bear hunting with a switch. What? That sounds
And
like. Go ahead.
well, to anyone that might think it's silly to say that an animal can have a psychic connection with you, I've got a friend who raises horses, and
Hmm.
she would do, the jumping and equestrian, and she said she could just think about turning or jumping, and the horse would do it without even her saying anything. They're that
Yes.
in tune with you. So.
Yes. Yes. So, and horses too can also be a familiar if you have that connection with that kind of an animal. Yeah, a perfect example of literally an animal being very psychic. I think they're more psychic than we are because they have better taste, better smell, better hearing than we do. Theirs is like intensified, whereas ours is kind of like you know. I'm working with Sonia. Yeah, we're sort of domesticated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Compared to the animals. Um, but yeah, like I agree that yeah, horses can definitely be your familiar if you can keep horses and have that connection. It's any animal that you would feel a connection with. And like I said, no, I'm not saying you should go out and domesticate a horse. That's not what I'm saying. If the horse wants to be domesticated, that's one thing. But I wouldn't, especially with the bears. Yeah, I wouldn't go out and domesticate a bear. Oh dear goddess. Please don't do that.
Yeah, have you ever seen Grizzly Man? It did not turn out well.
Yeah, no, don't do it. But there are some bears that they used to use for like the circus, those kind. I mean, even if you domesticate an animal, they can still turn on you because they're still wild.
Yeah, I've seen that
I
happen with cheetahs.
Right. I saw. Well, I don't know if he turned on him, but hang on. Sorry, allergies. I saw a guy who literally had a coyote as a pet.
We had a half coyote.
Okay, so I mean, they can be just like foxes or like wolves. I've seen wolves too act like, pups. Especially if you raise them since they were little, wolf cubs, pups. So I'm not surprised that wolves can act like that, but I wouldn't trust all the wolves to act like that. Now remember, guys, we have dogs from wolves that wanted to be domesticated. They didn't want to look for food themselves. They wanted to, just take food from the humans who did the hunting themselves. Um, th- in my view, that was like a connection with the wolf. You had a connection that you could domesticate them to now we have all kinds of dogs with every breed and gender you can think of. Um, it to me, like I said, a dog can be your familiar if that's what you wish. If we go back to Harry Potter, I mean, they used every animal they could think of: rats, toads, owls. I'm sure there were snakes in there too. Um, so
And Hecate
anything
has
can.
dogs.
I'm sorry.
And Hecate has her dogs.
Yes. So Hecate again has familiar that were dogs, and there's stories behind them. One of them was a woman that got cheated or something in battle, and she took pity on her and made her a dog. And that's why dogs are said to be very loyal because, they have that attachment to their human, and can hunt with them. Like, we used to take the wolves hunting with us, and they would get, some of the spoils. Um, Good for guarding, for guarding the family, guarding the goods, guarding the meat, of course. So not only did they get the spoils, but they also got to guard, some of those spoils that they would eat later. Um, so yeah, like you can not only use a familiar in your magic, but you can also use an animal with your magic. So, like, if you have symbols of them, or I don't, I a lot of people think we sacrifice them. We do not do that. We do not sacrifice our familiars, or otherwise they wouldn't help us in our magic, right? But you always hear that stereotype of, oh well, the witches and the black cats, they eat black cats, or they use black cats and then skin them or something or whatever. No, 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 we don't do that. Trust me, my black cat, I would never think of hurting her. She's too just she's too loyal, you know. And I'm not that kind of person that hurts animals either. I have 3 cats for heaven's sake, and I spoil them rotten. Excuse me. So you can definitely tell I'm an animal lover, and I would love to have a dog. When my man and I get together, I'm definitely thinking of, well, he wants a dog. He wants a golden retriever, and of course, I want a Doberman Pinscher black. I mean, the thing I looked up about Doberman Pinschers. They are very loyal. If you teach them to be loyal, they will be loyal to you and only to you.
That's
Um,
what I want is a Great Dane Dobie mix. It's like a hellhound. It's so rad.
really?
They're
See,
scary
there you
looking.
go. There you go. Um, yeah, because I think that's just it's just a stereotype. I mean, but like I said, we also use dogs for hunting. They're very good hunters. So are
Sheepdog.
Dobermans.
Yeah,
Yep,
sheep, and
sheepdogs.
some
Yeah,
some get mice unbelievably or rodents.
yeah. Oh, I told my mom if she got a cat, the cat would, treat her just as well as anyone else. She'd go out and catch a mouse and put it right on the pillow. My mom hates rodents. She
Our
can't
cat,
stand them. She is scared to death of mice and anything like gerbils, anything like that. Speaking of mice and gerbils, uh, like I said, I don't know why you would domesticate one, but again, rats, mice, gerbils, guinea pigs, hamsters, anything that is an animal, you could literally make your familiar if you feel that connection.
yeah,
Um,
rats are supposed to be one of the most intelligent creatures. I saw one taking
yes.
a shower on the internet, and I was like, wow. It was washing its face with soap. It was so cute.
Oh, see, and again, it goes back to Hollywood kind of they got this right, that in Harry Potter they had, the one guy has a rat for a pet. It turned out it was a human who turned into a animal, but
Peter
still,
Pettigrew.
yes. But still, they had, the rat as a pet, and they fed it and took care of it, and it was very loyal to them. Um, excuse me, until we found out it was actually a person who turned into an animal. Uh, but that's fine. But yeah, you could, not my mom, because she hates anything that's rodent in its inception. But like, if you wanted to have that familiar and you feel close to a mouse or a hamster or some kind of substitute, whatever you feel close to. I mean, it's not limited. Again, you're not limited to just one type of animal. If you feel a connection with a snake or a spider, go for it. I guess I don't know how you would domesticate a spider. Um, especially a black widow.
I've been bitten by one. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, we don't recommend that. Don't do that. But
My mom,
again,
my mom pets tarantulas.
okay, so there you go. Yeah, tarantulas. I've seen them where they are very loyal pets, especially like, and they go like this, like they hunch their backs, and it looks like they're going to strike, but they don't. They actually just kind of like, ah, thank you. I needed to scratch there anyway, you know. They're kind of like cats, you know, like cats are like, yeah, yeah, right there, yeah, that's the spot, you know. And I'm like, this is a tarantula. This thing could kill you. um. So I mean, yeah, if that is what you feel close to, I don't know. Again, it's a creature of nature, so excuse me, I'm so sorry. Another thing I was thinking of briefly is a fawn. I would really like to have a baby fawn, or a fawn is a baby. Come on, Steph, wake up. I would love to have a fawn and raise it, because they are very loyal too. Deer are very loyal. So, like, if you got a fawn, if you rescued a fawn and you raised it, it would eventually come back to you once it goes away. And it might even bring more of their deer friends. Like it may bring more doe, or it may bring a buck or whatever. You know, that you're not just limited to, you know, things that you. I mean, because you can domesticate these animals if you raise them from like a cub or a fawn. Um, was another one. I saw a pack of lions just, you know, take down their owner. I guess the lion and lioness had been raised by this one zookeeper or keeper, and you know, they just pounced on her and just started licking her up and down. um yeah, they were very happy to see her because I guess she had to kind of put them back into the wild, but she raised them when they were cubs. And same another one was elephants. See, I kind of watch these where they have animal and human reunions. Have you ever seen these on like YouTube or whatever? Oh man, I die. I'm like crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. um, because if you think about the other one was a chimp. He had seen the people who raised him when he was a baby because he lost his real mother. I don't remember how he lost her, but he lost his real mother, and this kind couple, a man and a woman, took care of him when he was a baby. So again, don't just limit yourself. I mean, anything can be your familiar. Anything. You don't have to own the animal to have a connection with that animal. And again, I can get a fox statue and feel that connection with my familiar because I can't own one in the state of Pennsylvania. So,
Yeah, because it
um,
can be more about the traits they possess and what they stand for,
yes,
symbolize, instead of just physically being
right.
present with it.
And like I said, I can use my cats if they are willing to sit still long enough to do that. Um, you know, a dog and a cat are two different things. So a dog will sit there and wait for you until you say something, and then the cat's like, fuck off.
Well,
That's
sometimes they sit
okay.
in your lap, you know, but
Yeah.
came to like cat's
Oh, trust
personality.
me. My I have a cat named Morgana, Morgana Maleficent. Uh she is literally my lap cat. She's the biggest cat of them all, and she's a fat cat. I call her a fat cat because she is a fat cat. And she sits, I'm like, oh, you weigh a ton. But I sit there and you know, kind of pet her. She has a little matted fur on the back, and she won't sit still and let me cut it off. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I would shave her, but I think that would hurt even worse. Um,
Yeah,
so
cats don't like baths for people that don't know.
I don't think a bath would take those that matted fur off. But like if I use clippers, I'm afraid she you know, she doesn't have any front claws, but she has back claws. So I don't want the back claws going into my skin. No, thank you. Um, but like every cat, they say every cat has a personality. I agree with that. My Aphrodite, she wants when she wants attention, you watch out because she will be very vocal about it. Morgana is more vocal when food is involved. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, sinuses. Um, but yeah, no. Morgana is very vocal, and so is Maleficent when food is involved. When it comes to food, they are very vocal cats. Not so much Aphrodite. She just kind of stands there. She's like, "Okay, you're gonna put the food down now. Okay, I'll come and eat." I'm like, "Why don't you just come when I call you?" She's not a dog. That's why, cats got their own thing. But like as soon as I put the food down, Maleficent and Morgana are just they're like dogs. As soon as you put the food down, the dog's like, and Aphrodite's like, okay, she's done.
Our dog actually wants the cat's food more than her food now. It's
Oh,
ridiculous.
jeez. Well, that can happen. I did have a excuse me, I'm sorry. I did have a dog. His name was Cena after John Cena. Because I just thought that was a really cool name. I didn't really like John Cena. um, but he was a great dog. He'd always go like this when I was petting him. He'd go like this, and that means, "Mommy, I want a belly rub." And so I gave it to him. He was a black he was a black lab golden retriever mix. Beautiful dog. And of course I spoiled him. I spoil all my animals. Let's put it that way. I spoil all my animals to the point of like they get fat. Cena was kind of fat, not really. Not really. He just had a big frame. And I've been doing that. I rarely get very small cats. I get the big ones, the non-runts of the litter. So I think I've just been blessed with big frame cats. I mean, they're huge. And of course, I feed them and spoil them. So, but but yeah, like so you have a dog. Do you have any cats?
Yes, a cat too, and chickens actually.
You have cats and chickens.
Yep, yep. I think we have
And,
10 chickens.
and how do they get along?
Fine, actually. So the cat will sit out there and wait for like the squirrels or the mice or whatever. They don't have any negative interactions at all. And sometimes it's hilarious. The chickens, if they're eating, they'll let the squirrels sit there, but after a while they start to peck at them, and it is so funny to watch.
Squirrel's like, "Get out of here." That's another
Yeah,
thing that could be a familiar if you
sure.
feel close to one. And you can
Yeah,
domesticate any kind of squirrel.
yeah.
Uh, I've
And
never seen
raccoons
anyone
even.
domesticate a flying squirrel, but I wouldn't rule it out, especially if you raised it from a baby to adulthood and then put it back into the wild. Um, and if it came back to you, I guess it was your friend for life because, I did see one guy, it was like the squirrel with the ears that come up to like to a point. It's like a red squirrel. And a guy had raised it from a baby and it came right back and it refused to leave him. And I mean, the animals themselves will feel loyalty to you if you if you show loyalty to them. So like if it so I raised my cat from a kitten, and that's why she's sort of imprinted on me, and she feels loyalty towards me because, I took care of her when she was sick and I took care of her when she was a baby. Um, I did that with all my cats. Actually, Morgana she's a funny story because her granddad cat, I actually rescued from up under my house, my old house. The cat had a litter of cats under our house, and I rescued Matthias, is what we called him, until we actually adopted him out. Well, I had a black cat named Callie, and I adopted her out too. She was from a rescue, but now I don't remember. Oh, my ex and I rescued her, but we had to give her up and we adopted her out. Well, anyway, I wasn't looking, and apparently Matthias got to her first. And they had babies. Callie had babies. And it's funny because, like, around the same time she had her babies, I got pregnant with my son. So I wasn't even worried about me at the time. I was more worried about her. Um, because I had a birthing box for her and she went up under my bed. So I'm like moving the mattress and I'm climbing over the, box spring and stuff. And I'm like, why'd you come over here, baby girl? Um, she had seven. One of them unfortunately did not make it. I don't know if he breathed and then passed or if he just literally was stillborn. Um, she had she had six boys and one girl. Well, there was a little gray one, and beautiful gray. Um, and I adopted him out to my cousin, and they named him Luno. And Luno got frisky with my cousin's ex-girlfriend's cat, and she had a litter of her own, and that's where Morgana came into it. Morgana is the granddaughter of Matthias, who I rescued up from under my house. So, here we are. But it's a funny story about her. So, yeah, she is the grand kitty of one of the kitties that I rescued that was up under my porch. So, or up under the house. So, um now, do you have any cool stories that you can tell about maybe your cats or your chickens or anything?
Oh, well, first of all, we do get bats out here. My son and I will go for a walk down the road, and they'll fly over our head. It's awesome. Um,
Awesome. Awesome.
and yeah, our cat goes in and out, so we are constantly getting treats brought to us. And for whatever reason, she'll come to the front door and meow, and you can tell she's got
Here,
something in her
Daddy,
mouth.
here's a mouse for you.
So she'll
I don't
meow with
want
something
that.
in her mouth. Yeah, and then she'll set it down and like meow, and then like play with it. So it's like, I feel
I
bad.
said,
I'm
knock
like,
it off.
just eat it if you're gonna eat it.
She bats at it. Told you, knock
Oh
it off. This is
yeah.
my daddy we're talking about here.
Yeah, our coyote used to do the same thing. We'd come home and it would have
You
a head.
actually had a coyote as a pet?
Yeah, it was. So we got it from the grocery store, and it was in a box, and it was a puppy, and it was a very wild dog. She would actually jump over our fence, because there
Hmm.
was no holes, and she would go run with a coyote pack and get the neighbor's chicken and come back.
Oh,
Um,
no.
and this happened all the time. So
Oh, no.
yeah, we were popular with the people that own
And
chickens.
then the neighbors are, get your
Yeah,
coyote out of my.
and she would spin in circles all day if someone was over here and bark
She
and
got to
bark
get
and
that
bark.
tail, man. She got to get the tail. Got to get the tail.
Yep, and howl. Which I'm trying to get my dog now to howl, but it will not howl, and I'm always
What kind,
disappointed with that.
what kind of
it's
dog do you have?
I think it's a pit bull boxer, which we've had several pit bulls.
Oh.
I love them, but I do know that unfortunately sometimes they attack people, and it's always so sad because it's not the dog's fault though; it's the owner.
No, yeah, it's definitely the owners. If the
Yeah.
owners ever, did you ever see the show Pit Bulls and Parolees?
Yes, I did. That was a great show.
Yes, I love that show too. Yes, I just grew tired of it because it just seemed like one drama after the other, and they were focusing more on the family and not the dogs. Um, but anyway, yeah, no, they have several pit bulls, and they're just as loving as you could be.
They're so
Um,
loyal, very
oh,
very.
so loyal, so adorable, and they love belly rubs. I bet yours loves belly rubs.
Oh, absolutely. Every morning we have our door shut, and she's waiting for me every morning right outside my door. It's hilarious.
Yep. And can I have the tail wagging? Can I have a belly rub, Daddy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
She's
have
cute.
several dogs around here that I know the one little poocher. I think it's I want to say a poodle and a something mix, but it's it's like a little sheepdog, I would say, like a little tiny or terrier. It's a terrier, so a terrier poodle mix. And boy, it just loves when I come around and like it gets on its back and it's like, come on, give me the belly rub, lady. I'm really surprised they don't get like, I smell cat. No,
Sure.
none of them do that. They are all very not loyal, but like I would say they're very rambunctious and they love people. So, many dogs around here, and like I would love to get my son a dog. So maybe like when I said my man and I get together, get married finally. Um, I think we will definitely look into. He wants to call his spot and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna get a black Doberman Pinscher, midnight. I thought about Hecate, but I want to name one of our other daughters. Like when we have if and when we have other children, I would like to name a daughter Hecate. So um I talked to him. I said, "Don't you think Hecate, the real Hecate, would be, kind of like, oh, shucks, you know, she'd be very proud to have my daughter." Because he was like, "Well, that'll scare the Christians." I'm like, "That's the point." Hecate Maleficent is her name. Will be her name, and he was like, "Well, that'll scare the Christians." I went, "That's the point." No one's gonna bully her with a name like that. And she could just look at him and go, "I'll put a spell on you. My mom will help me." So, yeah, we were talking about that. But yeah, I thought for a dog's name, especially a Doberman Pinscher, should be like Hecate or something scary. Even though they are very loyal, and unless you teach them to, be aggressive, Doberman Pinschers are just like little puppy dogs. They don't really, I mean, any breed of dog can be like that. Pit bulls, boxers. I love boxers. Our old neighbor used to have two boxers, and oh my gosh, did they love me. They love me all night if they could. They would just lick me and everything. So, but that's the part like of the dog that we domesticated, that they are very loyal to us, and we teach them to be loyal. We teach them. In fact, my my soon to be husband, he actually told me that they're good for hunting, they're good for guarding. I was thinking, yeah, I mean, if and I do want to learn how to hunt. Um, he was saying, that they're for hunting and guarding, and I was like, yeah, we could teach our dogs to hunt and guard, and that way I can also learn how to hunt. I'm more for the bow and arrow part of it. Because I'm actually good at a bow and arrow. I'm actually good at archery. I was good in school. But I used to go to this daycare, and when I was real little, like 6 or 7, and they actually had a archery tournament, and I did pretty well actually. And it was like my first time. I hardly ever. I mean, I never picked up a bow before, so I actually did pretty good for that. Maybe I was an archer or something in a previous life. Like I was a hunter in a previous life, and I used bow and arrows. Maybe I was Native American and used their bow and arrows. You never know in a previous life. Okay, so we are almost at our time. We're gonna wrap up here. So give me a summary, Matt, of familiars to you. So just kind of summarize, pretty much, just summarize.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say two things. So ubi sita, I think that's how you say it, is a Norse term for sitting out. And people would sit outside all night, and it's
Right.
kind of like the meditation you were saying to find
Yep.
your familiar. So
Hmm.
you can find resources on that in the sagas. Um,
Yep.
and then also, my friend in Texas has what's called the Bastrop Cat Coalition on seekthemysteries.com, and they do cat rescues. So if you guys can donate,
Oh.
that would be really helpful. And
Yeah,
then
you got to get those kitties off the streets because I mean they're getting runned over and it's not good. I go past roadkill all the time and it's usually a kitty cat and I'm just like, oh, poor thing.
and that's
I
another
actually
thing.
I admit it, I accidentally hit one. It was on the highway too. It was on one of our highways, and I'm like, "What are you doing out here on the highway, cat?" And I tried to get over in the other lane to avoid them. No, they darted in front of me, and I'm like, "No, stop!" Don't. I was like, "Oh,
And
I'm
that's
gonna live.
another thing.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
live with that on my conscience."
I know. Yeah,
It
I
was a
think
beautiful white
squirrels.
cat too, all white cat. Oh, I was so heartbroken. I cried the
I'm
whole way
sorry.
home.
I
I
bet.
was like, dang it. Why does this have to happen to me? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, no. That's just what I was going to say though. If you're not planning on having puppies or kitties, you probably want to get your animals spayed or neutered so that you don't have because
Yeah.
they tend to breed like rabbits.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. My one cat had kittens and I'll never do that ever again. And we had a heck of a time adopting them out, but we eventually did adopt them out. So, um what I would do is just, uh get it done early, as early as you can. I did it with my 3 girls. Um, they are all fixed. 2 of them are declawed, in the front paws, but, Maleficent, I just don't have the heart to do it. I kinda had to do it with the other 2 because my dad was like, I don't want them scratching the furniture." And I know you can get those little claw, they're like little plastic pieces you can put on their claws, and it's supposed to stop them from scratching. Um, I don't think Maleficent would sit still long enough for me to put those on. Um,
And that's
she's
another
not a
thing. Like,
lap cat. She's
yeah,
not a lap cat, not at all. Nope. She would rather be on the floor and just meow. What? Meow. Or she just says meow, meow, meow. I'm like that. That's it. That's all.
yeah. And everyone thinks that puppies and kitties are so cute, and they are, and everything. But you've got to remember a few things. One, you have to train them. That they
Yep.
are absolutely
Yep.
ravenous when they're first born, not in a
Yep.
violent sense, but in a messy sense. And
Yeah, in a
two,
messy sense, and you will be cleaning it up, day after day.
and two, there's so many animals that need to be adopted. So consider that if you do want to
Mhm.
get a pet.
Yep. Like I said, I just got blessed with, well, actually, Aphrodite, I got her from a pet shop. There and you're gonna laugh at this because, my dad did. He laughed hysterically. He thought it was the funniest thing he's ever heard of or seen. Um, I I got Aphrodite in 2013 from a pet store that was literally right next to a Chinese restaurant. You
Oh
can't make
my
that up.
god.
I'm not making that up. I swear to the goddess, literally that it was a pet store and then there was a Chinese restaurant right beside it. You can't make this up. So yeah, I rescued her because she just kept coming towards me. And when she was a little kitten, she used to fight with one of my other cats that I adopted out. And I would pick her up and put her on the couch and Aphrodite would fall asleep. Fight done, fight over. um, and like I said, Maleficent is kind of the, grand kitty of the one I rescued from the house. So, um, so make sure you spay and neuter your animals because again, that's she's a perfect example of why someone needed to be fixed. Because they will reproduce like rabbits. Let's put it that way. But unfortunately or fortunately, we have reached our time limit. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Next week, Matt, do we have any guests?
We are solo again.
Okay. So think of some more ideas.
Yep. And then we're gonna have
um,
Sonia on pretty soon. Yeah.
yes. So sorry, my background is freaking out.
Yep.
So yes, October 31st. Well, it'll be the 31st for her. It'll be the 30th for us. So October 30th at 7 o'clock, we are going to record a seance with the lovely Sonia Smith. Thank you so much again for introducing her. She has become a fast friend to me. And then, of course, the 27th, which is my son's birthday, she'll be sending me my next mediumship class. So I'm actually taking a mediumship class with her. Um, and I'm going to soak it up like a sponge because I need to learn all I can. Um, so, and she's been really helping me with like readings and stuff. Such a wonderful lady. I just hope I don't take up too much of her time, but it's kind of like, um, it's become like a normal thing now, and I hope that's okay with her. But she's such a blessing to me, and I can't thank her enough for her help over the past couple of months with my situation. And Sonia, if you're watching, thank you so much, and I hope that we can continue to do this. And yeah, so the 31st, I'm sorry, the 30th. So it will be coming out on the 31st of October. I will probably upload it on the 31st. We're probably going to go a couple hours instead of 1 hour. Sorry, hang on, let me take off my background again. It's totally freaking out. All right, there we go. So yeah, I will probably upload it, not probably, I will upload it on the 31st of October. So no issues there. Um so we will be having a seance, and we're going to go more than an hour, probably about 2 or 3 hours, depending on how long Sonia wants to go for. So, and we'll just take it one grain at a time. Whoever comes up in the seance, will focus on that. And so, if you have any, family members that come through, that's fine. I have someone that I would like to come through, and they've already told me they're going to be there. So
Party.
yeah, party. And that'll be right after my son's birthday. The 27th is his birthday. So yeah, he turns 8. I'm all excited for him because like he actually gets to have a party on his birthday because it's a Sunday. In fact, my guy and I were thinking, and we're talking, we might have our wedding on my birthday next year. So April 20th, 2025. It's a maybe. We're gonna put it in a placeholder right now. Nothing too set in stone yet. But we're definitely thinking of my birthday. So that would be very sweet to have a my birthday plus a wedding anniversary, every year. So I mean that would be a blessing, but we'll see. We'll just put a placeholder in there now and just kind of wait. Um but anyway, yeah, so the 31st or the 30th, it'll be the 30th for us, the 31st for her. And we're definitely going to do a seance. And like I said, we're going to go more than an hour. We're going to do probably 2 to 3 hours. So catch that on Rumble and YouTube. I'm not going to edit anything, not this week, not then. It's going to be the raw footage is literally going to what you're going to see on Rumble and YouTube. I can promote something else this week. I do it all the time for my other channels, so I'll probably just because I don't feel like editing anything. Until I get this other software. I was looking up some great software for editing, and this seems cheap, but I need to learn how to use it first. Kind of I have to like kind of dive in and kind of see, get my hands wet. Kind of get my feet wet with it. Um, so for right now, I'm just going to hold off on editing too much. So, um, but next week we'll be back here, me and Matt, and I will ask Sonia, or if you want to talk to her, that's fine. Um, I think maybe we should have her on, beforehand, and then also because I'm sure she'd love to come on and talk. Maybe even do like a tarot reading for one of us or both of us. Um, we'll leave that up to her. Um, Thank you. So anyway, We'll be back here next week, either with Sonia or we can have just me and Matt. But we definitely will be here. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a great week and blessed be everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Blessed be everyone. Hello. I just want to let everyone know that the outro music is AI generated. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And also, if you would like to generate your own AI, the link in the description field will be for their website. Blessed be everyone.
In the woods where the whispers run deep, underneath the moon, where secrets we keep, she dances in the shadow with the silver tide. Candles flicker soft, guiding light as a guide. Her altar's filled with herbs and old charms, lost in ancient spells, safe in her arms. Stars weave a tapestry across the black sky. With a chalice raised high, she lets out a sigh. With her sacred circle drawn tight, calling to the spirits in the quiet of the night. Her magic's in the earth, the wind and the seas. She whispers ancient words, swaying like the trees. In a grove of oaks, where the world stands still, she gathers her strength with every Sabbath thrill. The moon's tender gaze, casting shadows cold, the stories of her craft in the twilight retold. The broom by her doorstep, sweeping away all the dark shadows of yesterday. With the cauldron bubbling, herbs to the air, every spell she casts is a heartfelt prayer. With her sacred circle drawn tight, calling to the spirits in the quiet of the night. Her magic's